that. Good evening and welcome to Kitchen Conversations. I'm so glad that you're here tonight with us, be it in person or online. We have a wonderful night in store, so I'm so excited that you're here. So let's take a breath right now. And let's breathe into this moment, the divine existence of love, joy, and peace, knowing that all that there is the infinite intelligence, showing up and guiding us as we lift our entire world to a greater expression of love, of equality, of justice, of a life for all. So in taking that in, let us get ready for our theme song. Oh yeah. Well, you better listen, my sister and brother, 'cause if you do, you will hear the voices that are calling across the years. And they're crying across the ocean, and they're crying across the land, and they will until we all understand that none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us in chains, none of us are free. Oh, there are people in the dark, and they just can't see the light. If you don't say that it's wrong, that says it's right. We got to give to one another. Show our families that we care. Let it go. We can turn it off because it's track. So out loud and clear that none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us is in chains, don't you know? None of us are free. That's our theme song. Our beloved Linda Ely's not here, so we are doing a little magic. With that, I want to share with you, there's so many things that are happening right now, but this is a call for urgency on your part and mine. In Oklahoma, a young man by the name of Julius Jones is scheduled to be killed tomorrow. This young man, the evidence, the way it was presented, he was 19 years old when he supposedly was accused of killing Mr. Howell. I think it was Paul Howell. His representation were three people that had never, ever done a death penalty case. They did not. His family had him as there was an alibi for him. They didn't bring that to the court. There were other people that were giving testimony that was not incorporated either. And then one of the main things, he didn't look like the person that they were describing. He looks nothing like them. His head was bald and clean. They were looking for a long-haired man. And the entire thing has just been atrocious. And he's been in jail for almost 20 years for something he did not do. His legal team now has been presenting to the parole board and to the governor. The parole board is now saying, hey, wait a minute, we believe that there's enough information here that this kid may not have done this. Let's slow it down. So understand there's two things going on. We're trying to stop him from being killed, and then the second step will be to get him freed out of prison. Now, they have evidence that the other young man that was a friend of his has been bragging, has been talking, speaking, that he was the man that actually killed this man. So, I know it's a lot. Let's take a breath. I want to show you this slide because I want you, if you can tomorrow, call. The phone will ring a lot. I called. The phone will ring a lot, but be persistent. I don't know if there's a time we really want to show up for clemency to stop this. This is how racial bias affects us. One of the jurors has been reported as saying when they were doing the deliberation, let's take this N-word and just hang him. That's a juror. That is so biased. So please, I don't know what time zone you're in, but as soon as you get up in the morning, start calling the governor and let's put our prayers and light. Because this, unfortunately, this young man is not a minority in this particular case. For black people, it's a majority. Had this been a white defendant, it never would have gotten to here. So, Racial Equality Project, we want you. You can call from your home. You can call from wherever you are tomorrow. Make the call, please. All right. That being said, move us right into where we are tonight. We have two beautiful ladies that are going to discuss racial bias recovery. How even in recovery, there is a separation, there's a bias, there is this unseen, unspoken, but definitely presence that people of color are not as important, don't deserve, or don't cater to, so, or have the opportunities that a white person going through recovery can. So we're going to explore this tonight, and let's keep our minds, our hearts open. So I'm going to bring in the panel, and we have Sherry Billups Clark and Kelly R. Beck with us. Hello, ladies.
Hey, Kelly.
Good evening. Hey, Sherry.
As I readjust here, let's see here. Great. How are you ladies doing tonight?
Good.
Good.
Very good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, very well.
Okay, beautiful. So let's get this party started. Let me roll off this first question. I have to say that Sherry Billups Clark is my cousin, my first cousin. Cousin.
Cousin.
So Sherry, I'll ask you this question. How long have you been in recovery?
I just celebrated 8 years, October the 16th of this year.
That's
Thank you,
awesome.
thank you.
Congratulations, cuz.
Yeah.
And Kelly, how long have you been in recovery?
I will have 17 years on December 7th.
Wow. Awesome. Really awesome. I want to just say thank you to both of you for making that journey. We're not going to talk about all of that, but I just want to acknowledge that changing your life in that manner had to be a big mountain at one point, and you made some different choices. So I just want to say thank you for showing up. So with that, Sherry, I'm going to ask, In your recovery, how many people of color do you see participating in meetings, housing? Uh, how, how do you see that?
Well, we definitely don't have the opportunity that the white generation has. You see it in the courts. Um, we catch a case and, we get sent to jail or prison. And the white person catch a case and they give them recovery court. I work at a place right now and it's recovery court related and it's not one black person that lives there.
Really?
Um, yes, really. So is very, very obvious here, um, that it is racism here in Jackson. I mean, it's obvious, you know, and so that has got to be changed somehow. We have got to be given the same opportunities as others. You, I have a friend, and weed in certain places is legal now. Her
Right.
brother is still locked up for weed, going on 10 years
Oh, my.
for weed.
So, Kelly, let me ask you, during your years of recovery, how many people of color have you seen in the rooms?
Within Jackson, I count. Um, we
Say that again,
have
I'm sorry.
approximately. I said I've actually counted,
Yes.
and we have approximately 4 men and 5 women in the entire city. And we have a lot of recovery support groups.
So you're saying in the city of Jackson, there are 4 men of color and 5 women?
Yes.
Wow. What do when I told people that I was doing this show, I had a few people ask the question of, why aren't there more people of color in the room? And I didn't have an answer for them. Why do you think that happens, Kelly?
Well, here in Jackson, like Sherry mentioned, there's been a lot of racism and it's been generational. There's a lot of trauma and a lot of anxiety about mixing, with the other race because of the way that you get treated. Comments that are said that I have experienced, but I was born and raised here, so I'm pretty much can, ignore it because I don't have the deep trauma from generations here. But it's deep and it's real.
Wow. Sherry, why do
Mhm.
you think that there aren't people of color in the rooms?
Well, I think with us also it started with trust, just not trusting. Um, the right generation, and so that keeps us separated. And we have to go out and reach. I feel like all of us have to go out and reach the black community because we do have trust issues with the white community,
Yeah.
and not just the blacks need to go out, but the whites too need to go out and you know um, build their trust with us. You know,
One of the
go ahead.
things that I've heard in a commercial, when someone is dealing with opioids, it's the family of someone on a prescription drug, and we've got to help build the family. And when they talk about people of color, they talk about us as a criminal, that we are unsafe to the neighborhood, that we are a menace to society, as if white people haven't broken into homes and stole TVs and done whatever they needed to do to get their fix. Is that something that you've seen. Kelly, were you raising your hand?
No, no, I wasn't.
Okay. So,
Yeah, Gino, can I just say this?
yes.
And when I say that we don't have the same opportunities, I mean, if you look back in the 80s when black people were losing their kids, their families because of the crack epidemic, we didn't have the opportunities. It was like, okay, send them to prison, send them whatever. Today they have all kind of opportunities because it's taken over the suburban area, the white people, and I mean, so now doors are open for, I mean, for even if they don't want recovery, is there is there for them. You don't want to go to jail. Okay, we're gonna put you in recovery court, but we go to jail and prison still.
That's one of the things. Black people go to jail, it's almost instantly. A friend of mine, her son was out on bail, and it was 2 days before Thanksgiving. And he was caught with drugs on him. And they told him, after Thanksgiving, you come and report. I don't have to tell you what color he was. That's an
Exactly.
impossibility that would have happened to somebody of color.
Mhm.
So once again, we are met with a criminal system that people of color are made criminals in the recovery process. And I even have to say that, growing up, it wasn't recovery. You were an addict.
Yes.
You were an addict, and there was a lot of shame around it. Did either of you see the movie Traffic?
Yes.
I don't think.
Do you remember that scene where the father, who is a senator, I believe it is, his daughter is strung out on heroin,
Hmm.
and he goes looking for her, and her boyfriend, who also is using heroin, but he's not as strung out as her because she has gone to the part where she letting him use her body. She's out.
Hmm.
And her father says something to the point that this is ridiculous. The cops should stop this. And the white boy turns to the father and says, if it were in our neighborhoods, they would stop it, but it's not. And I thought, wow, wow. That's just clearly stated. It's almost like how in black neighborhoods or neighborhoods of color, you see alcohol stores or liquor stores almost like on every corner. Every
Hmm.
corner, pretty much, or every other corner, there's a liquor store. But in more exclusive neighborhoods, you have Bev Mo, or you have to go into the grocery store. The presentation is presented in this beautiful package. So, Kelly,
Hmm.
share a little bit about your story of recovery.
Whew, where do I begin? Well, like I said, I'm originally from Detroit, and I've been here
I'm
since
going
I
to
was
ask you to
15.
move a little bit back from your mic because you're coming in and out a little bit. Maybe that'll help.
All right, is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm originally from Detroit. I've been here since I was 15. I left home at 13. And when I got here is when I got fully blown to my addiction
You,
with minor substances at first,
wait, well,
and
I'm
it moved
sorry,
into.
Kelly. Hold on a second. You're still really, it's hard to understand you there. So maybe just slow down a little bit. Just see if that works. I don't
Oh,
know. Yeah. Okay.
uh, so my story is children were placed in foster care, and that's how I introduced to recovery. Um, I did not feel like I was doing anything wrong. Uh, I didn't understand the lifestyle was really acceptable. And I had a wake-up call, and that's what started me off on my journey. I got connected with ministries and people that were living differently than I was brought up and what I had seen,
Can,
and I wanted that lifestyle.
all right, I'm sorry, in the studio, it's really hard to hear you. You're coming in and out. Doug, on the stream, how is it? It's okay? Okay. So I think what I got is that you said you came out of foster care?
No, my children were put in foster care.
Your children were put in foster care. Okay, and I'm sorry, I'm just because it's I don't know why it's doing it now. You were clear when we just did the tech, but it's echoing back and forth out. So your children were put into foster care. I didn't hear you, Kelly.
Yes,
Okay. Um, and so I think that's one of the other things too with parents of color, that their children are taken much more readily than in the white community, giving opportunity for them to have programs to work with the mother or the father and the children to keep the children in the home. But in people of color, it seems as though they pull the children out quickly. Is that true? Do you feel that way?
yes. I've actually witnessed that, experienced that. Um, I work in the field of social work, and I've experienced a lot of things that shouldn't be going on.
And so do you mind what type of work do you do?
I'm an alcohol and drug counselor, but I just recently got employed within the prison as a case manager and a recovery coach.
Let me ask you, maybe if you come forward, let's see if you come forward. All right, now let's,
Okay.
okay, now you sound great right there. Let's see. So repeat again, what did you say you do?
I'm a recovery coach and a case manager for the prison, right?
Okay, for the prison.
Yes.
So let me ask you that with people of color that are in the system, how hard is it for them to get support? Well, I guess
It is
this is what I want to say. How hard is it for them to get out of the system?
very difficult to get out of the system. Even though they serve their time, that charge is lingering, and it's very difficult to start a new life.
Wow. So Sherry, let me go to you and ask, how did your journey of recovery start?
You know, recovery is you have to want it and you have to be ready. And for so many years, I was in and out of the program, and I just was not ready. I wanted to continue to get high and drink and drug, and I thought that was having fun. And my life was just, I was miserable. I couldn't function without my drugs mainly because I'm a mainly an addict.
Okay.
I had to have it to take care of anything, and I was tired. I was told I was defeated. I felt like I wasn't well. I wasn't accomplishing anything in life. I was just existing. I was just here, and I wanted a better life, and I surrendered. And it's something that you know you get to that point, and I just got to that point. I'm tired, and I cried out. We was raised in the church,
Yeah.
and I fell on my knees and I cried out and I asked God to help me. And I mean, I begged and I prayed tears was running down my face. And I tell you, and I share this sometimes, and the presence that I felt, I knew God's presence. I knew that everything was going to be all right. I felt it.
You
And
felt
I've been
it.
sober, clean and sober ever since that time. Of course, I have to do the footwork. God just didn't snap his fingers. He don't do that. You know, you
Right.
have to do the footwork. And Callie was actually my very first sponsor.
Oh, really?
Um,
That's awesome.
yes, yes,
So when you look at the dynamics of Jackson, now were you in Jackson then, Sherry? Or were you in Ann Arbor?
yes.
You were in Jackson then?
No, I was in Jackson.
Okay. So for you two black women to find one another had to just be like an anomaly. Because do they have a meeting specifically for people of color? Is that even something that can be done, or is that cutting out other people? Or for women?
Yeah,
Because that's the other thing. As a woman, the the thought process is that how could she do that? How could a woman do this? On top of being black, as a woman, there is added pressure and shame that's put up on there. So I will ask this of your families. When you made this choice, were your families supportive?
yeah. Of course, mine was. Even today, they still be like, "Sherry, you going to a meeting?" So yeah, they're so happy and they're very supportive. They see the change in me, and they want nothing but the best.
Absolutely. And I remember one time when I came back to visit, you took me to one of your meetings that you were running. What was that meeting?
Yes, that was at Home of New Vision. That was a women's meeting.
So that
That we
that
had them.
for women, for women.
Yes,
How did that get
for women.
started?
A lady named Cindy started it a long time ago. I'm not sure exactly when. And
Kelly's saying
is
no.
that
How
you
did it get
know?
started,
What
Kelly?
did you start it?
I started that meeting, me and Nancy,
Wow, that's
when I
Oh,
worked it.
okay.
so. What inspired you to do
Okay.
that, Kelly?
We needed a women's meeting. We needed to be able to discuss women's issues without shame, without criticism. And I mean, it was a beautiful thing. And, people have taken it over and it's changed hands and it's still going.
That is awesome.
Hmm.
So, Kelly, how was your family? Was your family supportive through this, or were they at a point of like, okay, you got to prove it to us?
Well, my mother had passed. I had my father in Detroit, but I came to Jackson when I was 15. I left home at 13 and was on my own ever since. So it was just me and my three children here in Jackson with no biological family.
Wow.
But I had the support of, like I said, churches, and God just put people in my life to support me and help me and my children.
So let me ask you this: the relationship with your children. How did you have to mend that? Was there, because you said they were put into foster, two-step. How did you get them out of foster, and how is the relationship?
Well, first off, the only thing I cared about in my life was my children. I didn't think my life was worth living. And when they took my children, that's all I had to live for. So I did whatever they told me to do, and I got my children back. It was a struggle. And I ended up going through this for about 2.5 years because I relapsed. I had my children removed. I want to give them back again. Uh, the caseworker I have was a black woman from Lansing. Jake Scott. She passed away. If I would have had her as a worker, I would not have gotten my children back. She fought for me. She could see past the addiction. She could see past everything that I was doing. So,
Was this a black woman or was it a white woman?
black woman.
Black woman. It's and not. This is not a beat up, but different cultures understand differently.
Yes.
And so this is one of the things that we are doing in this day and age is to help other cultures understand that the same feeling and compassion that you would give to your own, it has to be extended to others.
Yeah.
And so the relationship with your kids, how is that relationship?
I have a very close relationship with the children. And I actually have three other children that I raised in the church. And
Wow.
we're all very, six of them. And today's my youngest daughter turns the marriage birthday today.
Ah,
She's 25.
happy birthday.
Mm.
That's super awesome. So we see this racial bias in so many different areas, in our legal system, for sure. In recovery, we see it in our health care, it's there. If you had to give thought or an answer to what you think could help bridge that, what would that be, Kelly?
We need other black people helping black. Like you said, we understand each other. We understand the challenges we have, from the day that we're born. So we need black people in those places, nursing the people at the hospital and advocating for those that don't have them. Because if you go to the hospital or you go to court and you don't have black people supporting you, then anything can be done.
So, Sherry, what would you say to that?
Well, I do believe that we need to help each other and reach out, but like in Jackson, it's not a lot of us. I just feel that all people need to come together and make that change. We need to reach out to the black neighborhood somehow,
You're right.
and you know, try to build trust with each other. I think everyone needs to do it.
Well,
Yeah.
I love what you're saying about trust because I think it's hard for white people to understand at some point that there truly is a difference. That
Mhm.
from the moment we're pulled over by the cops, it's a difference. I did a show some months ago, and it was on a study from Stanford. And they could tell by the way the police officer addressed the person in the car if they were white or black. So
Hmm.
if the police officer came up to the car, and this survey that they did was over a 2 or 3 year span, not just in Stanford, they did across America. Would say, "Good evening, how are you doing?" 99.999% of the time, it was a white person. If they approached the car and said license and registration, 99.9999% of the time, it was a black person. And so understanding that when you're not starting on level ground, and you would think in recovery, but like you said, we've discussed tonight how it went from an addict to as more white people were participating, or at least as more white people were starting to get in trouble about it, families were in trouble, then it became a health issue.
Mhm.
It was no longer
Hmm.
It was a health issue. This is a sickness, not this is a disease, and I'm definitely not saying that it's not. I'm saying that prior to that, black people were not viewed as this being a sickness or a disease. It was viewed
Hmm.
as people out of control, people that wanted to be
Junkies.
criminal. What? Say that again.
Junkies. They called us
Junkies.
junkies, and now they have different names. They don't want you to say that today.
Oh, what do they want you to say now?
Substance abuser.
Ah. And all of that. I mean, and please note, not making fun of anyone that's going through a journey.
Right.
But understand this, that those little tweaks make all
Hmm.
the difference in how people are approached. An officer that goes to a white person that has a substance abuse, it's a gentler process versus
Hmm.
an officer coming to a home that has a junkie. It's two totally different energies. And for us not to recognize that even in our recovery, there has been a difference made. And then with women, I know we have this new action coming up for racial equality. But one of the things that we have found with women, if there is a medical issue attached with the drug abuse, they're more likely to be shot and killed. And a lot of that is, once again, police officers not wanting, not caring, and I know this isn't all of them, but the way the system has been set up now, it's been shoot first, ask later. And
Hmm.
so in your recovery process, have you encountered women or people of color that on top of having a substance abuse, also there is mental health as well? Sherry,
Yes.
Kelly, what do you do in that case? How do you support that? Because you're dealing with two issues, and sometimes there is a need for medication. How does the system, how do you deal with that in recovery?
Well, in recovery, um, in my work that I did, actually uh, served women. I had a women's program, and both were uh, co-occurring, dual diagnosis, how they used to call it. They had mental health and substance abuse. And I actually started mindfulness class or meditation, you know, awareness and breathing and, pausing and things that could help medication, but sometimes we just need self-regulation.
I
And
love
that's
that. So meditation is a tool that you're using in recovery.
Hmm.
yes, most of us do.
So do you ladies meditate?
Yes, I do
Yes,
every
I
morning.
do.
Oh,
Yep, every
fantastic.
morning.
I
Hmm.
love it. So, there was this time where meditation was thought of as something as woo, 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 woo. So I'll ask you, Sherry, when you were introduced to meditation, what were your first thoughts about that?
Well, it was difficult really at first to do it. I had to continue to practice it and practice it. But like I said, I wanted a change and I wanted a different life, so I was willing to try whatever um someone said to try. But it took a lot of practice because my mind would race as I was meditating. And so now what I do is I do my prayer in the morning and then I just sit back and meditate.
Fantastic. And Kelly, for you, how was that when you first got introduced to meditation?
Well, when I first got introduced, there was by the members of the recovery group, and they actually were gurus of it. And it was an hour silent
Oh,
meditation, and it lasted 5 minutes. And I had to find out that there's so many forms of meditation that water, like
Mm-hmm.
right now, I got going, I have a fireplace or YouTube going, or I have some nature sound and things like that is the way that I meditate.
that's beautiful. So,
Mhm.
what other tool would you recommend that good for someone that's getting ready to start that journey? So, what I'm saying is for people of color that may go into the room and be the only person of color there, how do you move beyond that and go there for the recovery? And maybe right now, not for the kinship. Sherry.
Well, for myself,
No, go ahead, Kelly. No, go ahead, Kelly.
Go ahead.
for myself, back when I came into recovery, I was the only black woman in recovery. There was no other, and for years I prayed about that. But I was so focused on getting my children and having a new life, and I pulled from the people who were spiritual. No matter what their color, ignored the rest. But after a while, I needed more. So a lot of times I go to Detroit, go to Ann Arbor, go to Lansing, and those are meetings where there are a lot of people in color different meetings. So I don't sit still just in Jackson.
Love it. So you move out, if you can, you move out and find other places that would have a better opportunity of having more people of color.
Yes, and that's where I hear my story because I do not hear my story here.
Really? So the story that's um, uh, outside of Jackson, you see more of you in what the story is being told.
Yes, we speak the same
Mm-hmm.
language. Yeah, here in Jackson, I don't hear my path at all.
Wow. And
Mm-hmm.
Sherry, what about you?
What was the question again?
As a person of color, if you're on the journey or being called for recovery and you're maybe the only closest meeting to you, there are no people of color there. How do you move beyond that?
Well, just like Callie said, we don't sit in one spot. I hit other meetings too, um, with people of color. I don't do it probably as much as Callie does, but so that's where I get my a lot of my connection from, and from just doing other meetings, instead of just being comfortable at one certain meeting. Um, and I know when I came to the program, well, to recovery, I should say, I think Callie actually, maybe one other black woman, was really the only ones at that time who was even in recovery.
Okay.
And I could remember praying and asking God. I just didn't go out and get a sponsor. I didn't know if it's going to be white or black. But, I was praying, God, please send me the right sponsor that's going to help me because I'm ready. And Callie actually walked into the rooms at that time. And it was like, ask her. And I went up and asked Callie, and she, with open arms, she was there to help her sister.
So, well, let me ask you this last question, and whomever wants to go first. In recovery, and we understand that there is a racial bias, but if that call is coming through, I know you have to be, whatever is available to you, you have to be present. But what would you say to a person of color that maybe, like they're in Jackson, maybe they don't have a car or anything to move around, and so their meeting is predominantly white? What would you say to them to help keep them grounded on that journey?
I would actually tell them to pay attention to the message and not the message, because it's all about the addiction and what to do about it, no matter who's speaking.
Beautiful. Thank you. Sherry?
I would just basically tell them keep coming no matter what, because you're just as important as anybody else in the meeting or in the rooms. Just keep coming, keep coming.
Well, I love that because I didn't ask either one of you, but I see that I have a little more time and I will. Did you feel a stigma to you when you started in recovery? Did you feel ashamed? Did you feel that that people saw you differently? Sherry?
I didn't. Oh,
No, okay, go ahead, Kelly.
Go ahead, Kelly.
I didn't have any shame. I didn't even have any shame in my addiction. Yeah, which I think helped me.
Wait a
But
minute, say
yeah,
that
but
again,
now
Kelly. Say that again, I'm
I,
sorry.
I said I had no shame. I had no shame in my addiction. And I believe that helped me so that I didn't hold back from, saying what was really going on and asking for help.
Very good, thank you. Sherry?
I didn't feel no shame as far as, getting help and being a addict or addict. I felt shame of the things that I did, and that's why I needed to be in the rooms, the talk and get the help from other old timers that been there. How did you do this? How did you get through that? So I wasn't ashamed.
Well, I want to thank both of you ladies for sharing and for your candidness. This is definitely something that, as we march on for equality, that it is something that it has to happen. We have to have equality as well in recovery. And what would you say to someone that's outside of recovery, how we can help support having some equality? Are there things that we can do to help better insulate or better educate people? Anyone that wants to go with it?
Callie.
I'm thinking too, this platform right here is a great way to do that. Um, for people to
Hmm.
hear the messages that you have things being said. I have to say for Jackson, there's a lot of stigmatism, there's a lot of bias, there's a lot of shame. And people don't even admit that they have an addiction. They don't want to be seen at the police because it's normal. You're going to see people going to the movies. And that's a lot of it, that shame and stigma. But yeah, just platforms like this, other people share open and honestly about this.
Beautiful. Thank you. Sherry?
I agree with Callie. Thank you for doing this, Gino. And getting the word out and everything, and letting people see that it is a difference.
Yeah.
And just we have to reach out and go to the black neighborhoods and let them know, and not just blacks, but all of us, and let them know that, recovery is possible. You know, if you want the help, you can get it. I just think we need to reach out more because of our trust issues with society, with the white race. I really do.
I agree 100%. And also to programs that are out there, we may even also want to start sending letters to, like you said in Jackson, this housing that it's all white people that are there, that to recognize that this needs to be open to everyone. And although it's said that it's open to everyone,
Hmm.
it
It's
doesn't
not.
follow through. So I want to thank both of you ladies for your journey. I want to thank you for taking this time. This was so beautiful and so powerful. And have a blessed Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
Send you big love. Cousin, are you cooking anything for Thanksgiving?
Well, I'm cooking the dressing. I got to do the dressing this year.
All right. That's awesome.
So I
That
hope it tastes like mama's.
me too. So have a beautiful, blessed Thanksgiving, and thank you both so much for sharing your heart and your space. Peace and
Thank you,
blessings.
Thank
Gino. I love you,
I
cuz.
love you too, cousin.
you.
Oh, wow. Awesome. That was super awesome. So, wow. Just really awesome. So this is our conscious giving time right now. But what I want to do first, let's show our slides because we're almost close to the things that are happening. And once again, I want to show the slide for Julius Jones. You can take down the number. The governor's office will be on tonight. It'll be on answering machine, and you can still do that. But definitely tomorrow morning, call. And Doug, can you put the number in the chat? He did. Beautiful. Thank you. So that's awesome. So that you can do that. Also, the things that we have coming up. Let's see here. I'm going to let Sarah lead me. And this Friday, the movie of the month is Disclosure, and this is talking about the life of transgender, how inequality and how black transgender women are really criticized and sometimes violently assaulted. So it's a documentary. I'm looking forward to it. We'll have some popcorn, some yummy, gummy, yummies, and we'll be right here this Friday at 6 o'clock. The movie starts at 6:30, so please come out, share, and then we have a great time discussing, unpacking it afterwards. Also, Fun 'em and or Feed 'em. This is our fundraiser that's taking place over this year and next year. We have a host of hosts that are offering different events. I am doing the Super Bowl next year, right here at the Lions Club, February the 13th. We're having a Super Bowl, baby, with chicken wings on the grill, hot dog, some kind of veggie thing. Drinks, fun, just sign up. It's going to be great if you're a sports fan. Two big TVs, rocking it out, talking, having a great time. But there are a lot of great things that are going on. So please check it out on, you can check it out on the webpage and also on Sunday. Spirit in Action. This is so beautiful. Our Thanksgiving that we're taking to the border, taking across there to Mexico, just bringing some family and food. I think, Doug, can they still participate in if they want to bring some food or?
Yeah, they can bring food at 9 o'clock on
Thanksgiving Day?
bring it over here to the.
All right, so yeah, you're still available. If there's, you can bring some food if you want to participate. You can also always still donate. So Thursday morning, 9 o'clock at the office, that's where everybody will be. It's a beautiful way to start the holiday in blessing. And our Racial Equality Project, there were two actions. One was to watch the TEDx talk, which is really quite powerful on recovery and showing some of the bias. And the second was to watch kitchen conversations tonight. Really awesome. So thank you for that. And actually, the tree, angel tree, that Joe has been sponsoring. I think you can find more information about it on the web page, and all the kids might have been already sponsored, but we may be able to add a couple of extra kids. Who knows? But check us out on the web page. And okay, so I think that's it for the announcements. So I just want to take this time to say thank you for being here, for being present. There are many ways that you can give to Universal Spirit Center. Through our web page, there's a donate button right up top and it spins for you. You can also go on our PayPal. You can text it. And next week, if it's not Sunday, you'll be able to, we'll have our QR code where you can just put your phone right up to the screen, baby. Bam! Because that's how we rollin'. And just want to say thank you, Universal Spirit Center, for all that you do, for your consciousness, for your love, for your willingness to expand and be. So let us take the breath and just let this melt in. Next week on Awakening Wednesday, we will have a beautiful meditation that will take place here. Either it would be, there's a couple that are going on right now, but our sweet Toby won't be here, but there will be someone in her place. The healer, Aaron, will be here. So I look forward to sharing that with you and that meditation. It'll be great to have a meditation before Thanksgiving. So you can come lay out on the floor. There'll be plenty of space to get your head and your spirit in a place to receive. So just now, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for this time, for your space, for your consciousness, and for your love. Peace and blessings.